It's me again. It's been a while since I did a reaction video. Just uploaded in general. The other day I did stream some Sonic Racing Cross World, which was pretty fun. I got my legend competition taken care of. I didn't compete in the World Championship, obviously, but I just wanted to get my Emerald rank title. It was fun. I'll upload some parts of the stream, chopped up and whatnot, either one of these days, either Wednesday or Thursday. I don't know. Who knows? But today we're going to be reacting to a video called Unique Fighting Game Win Conditions. And this video is going to be by, I'm not going to try to pronounce your name, dude. I'm terrible at pronouncing names, but I'll just put it on screen here. But it looks like it says Cage, but that's my assumption. So let's get into the video. Alright, here you go. Let me scroll down so you can see it right here. There you go. Make sure you guys do a like, comment, and subscribe.
From having fun with friends and getting into fistfights at locals, aside from having fun with friends and getting into fistfights at locals, the inherent competitive nature of fighting games leads to one guarantee. One player must win, and the other must lose. But how can we achieve the former? The long answer involves years of practice, dedication, and copious amounts of energy drinks, but to save time, I'll say that it's all about getting into your win condition. Described by the FGC Glossary website as a specific situation you're hoping to achieve with your character to maximize your chances of winning the round. This does a good job of encapsulating the countless strategies found throughout the genre. Put simply, grapplers and rushdown fighters want to stay up close and personal, zoners generally want to stay as far away as possible, all-rounders want to occupy the mid-range, and so on and so forth.
Whoa, what game is this?
We'll be analyzing some hyper-specific mid-range and...
What game is this right here? I've never seen this game before, but it looks like something from like the early 2000s.
So on and so forth. However, we'll be analyzing some hyper-specific win conditions that only exist in specific titles, the likes of which are unique, bizarre, and downright terrifying.
Home dude from
Because of how character-centric these mechanics can be, I suppose you could also label them as something other than a strict win condition. But as they fit the FGC Glossary's definition, I wanted to include them all here. No matter which form they come in, these strategies are part of what makes fighting games so special, so let's strap in and uncover the madness of fighting game win conditions.
Wait, am I hearing Rivals of Aether in the background, or am I tripping? I swear that little do-do-do-do sounded like Rivals of Aether, but I could be wrong. But I'm really curious on what kind of, what unique win conditions are going to be here, because I do know, like, even just outside of fighting games, there are several games that have win conditions, like even like MOBAs. MOBAs have a lot of win conditions that you need to be under to do stuff for certain characters.
In a game filled with mutants, demons, animals, and whatever MODOK is supposed to be, I find it ironic that everyman Frank West has one of the most unique mechanics in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Him and Phoenix Wright has really cool win conditions.
He's far from being the only fighter to have a one-of-a-kind win condition, but I would be lying if I said his experience system wasn't my favorite. If you've never played Dead Rising, well, A, you're really missing out, and B, its gameplay progression is modeled after role-playing games, with Frank earning experience points for killing zombies, rescuing survivors, and completing missions. Once his XP bar is maxed out, you level up, learning new abilities and survival techniques along the way. Frank may start out as a wee baby with next to no health in the early game, but by the time his story reaches its conclusion, he'll have transformed into an unstoppable death machine. By taking pictures of his opponents mid-battle, Marvel 3's depiction of Frank undergoes a similar phenomenon, one that...
I see the level system of, like, outside of the, obviously, the meter at the bottom, we don't talk about that at the current moment, but I see the level system up there near his name.
Also allows him to level up in real time and gain new moves. Instead of defeating enemies to earn experience, it's now tied to his combo counter, with high numbers providing more points. In other words, the longer your combo is, the more XP you'll gain when cashing out. Interestingly, you're able to skip levels by performing extended routes, so there's nothing stopping a level 1 Frank, for example, from becoming level 5 via a single combo. Because of this, all Frank players will design their teams around him in such a way that enables them to reach level 5, the maximum, as quickly as possible. If you can think outside the box and get super creative, then virtually every character will have a way to help him earn levels, with Dante's Team Super and multi-hitting assist working wonders for Frank. Starting off at level 1, his normals, specials, and general mobility tools are pretty lackluster, failing to threaten much of the cast. Level 2 grants him a dodge roll that side switches,
Oh,
making it
that's cool.
fantastic for mix-ups and roundhouse kicks, boosting his combo and pressure abilities. Level 3 grants range and damage buffs to many normals, specials,
No longer
and
the
supers,
plunger.
while also unlocking his anti-air super. Not only does this work as a guaranteed reset from countless anti-air setups, but it also serves as consistent anti-Dark Phoenix tech. Level 4 comes with chip damage to most of his normals, boosts the range of medium attacks so that he now has instant overhead
That's
on low
insane.
50-50s, and increases the range, damage, and invincibility frames on his specials and supers. Finally, level 5 provides a 10% increase to damage output and health.
What
The
the
earlier
fuck?
Frank reaches level 5, the sooner the match is over, especially when he activates X Factor. What I love most about this experience system is how it accurately represents the feeling of playing Dead Rising within the confines of a 2D fighting game. Keeping an underleveled Frank alive against Marvel 3's onslaught of top tiers is far easier said than done.
Now, this is something I always wondered, okay, because I don't play Marvel's Capcom 3 or Ultimate, NVC 3. I generally don't play it. It's not a bad game whatsoever. I think the game is insanely cool. I wish I knew how to play it, but it's a lot to understand when you don't grow up on traditional fighting games, per se, or tag fighters. But that being said, like, it's weird to see that Frank isn't picked with all the top tiers in the game. Like, it's hard for me as an outsider in this game to see why a lot of the, and I put quotes on there on this, low tier characters aren't played, because it doesn't seem like too many characters in this game are necessarily bad. From when I see when people play them, they all seem pretty good. I guess just the top tier characters have easier access to pulling certain things off, while other characters got to work a little harder to get to the super broken stuff. Not entirely sure. If you know, let me know in the comments.
But if the stars align just right, he can instantly shift the match's momentum. Killer Instinct is one of my favorite fighting games ever.
Game's so cool, so underrated.
And a major reason for this is how every fighter is incredibly unique from one another. We could choose a character at random from the roster and find some insane win conditions to discuss, but after careful consideration, I've decided to go with Spinal, the maniacal
I
pirate
love
skeleton guy.
Spinal, dude, especially his
At
theme.
round start, Spinal's lack of solid defensive tools and immediate access to his scariest mix-ups can make him feel as weak as wet paper. But all of that changes when skulls come into play. By landing one of 4 types of attacks or absorbing an incoming strike, a green apparition will appear around his body, with 5 being the maximum. These are the crux of Spinal's win condition, turning him into a near unreactable demon should he begin his pressure. When spending a skull, he can shoot out projectiles that hit low, mid, or overhead, which are made even stronger by his standing overhead and teleports, mind you. Heavy Skeleports can be cancelled into special or shadow attacks. Heavy Bone Shaker now ignores projectiles, and Heavy Soul Sword hits twice. Outside of these special move buffs, landing any skull attack locks the enemy out of generating meter, with shadow moves doing the same for their instinct meter.
How do they get off of it?
This is known as a curse, and Spinal can inflict multiple of them at once, making it even harder for the opponent to return to normal. If you can't catch Spinal, you'll have to wait 30 seconds before these resources go back to normal, and
Okay, so I'm assuming that once you land a strike on Spinal, that relieves the curse then. Okay, like that's not too serious. That's not too ridiculously broken. Still really good, but as long as you can get your hands on him. He does have Skeleport and all this other shit, so.
At this point, I think you'll start to see why he's so deadly. By the way, I haven't even mentioned that skulls can be used to cancel normals into a run. Not only does this let him attempt point-blank high-low mix-ups, but he can also throw enemies who have been conditioned to block to get his skulls back. Making all of this even more belligerent is his Instinct, an install that turns Killer Instinct into a single-player game. Spinal automatically generates 3 skulls upon activation, the number of skulls he earns from landing attacks is doubled, and his projectiles now bounce off the walls. He can also use Power Devour to put them back in the supply too, because why not? Like with Frank West, Spinal begins a match in the weakest state possible, with careful skull placement being needed to really get the party started. The cherry on top of the skeleton sundae is that all of this can work wonders in a high-level competition, preventing Spinal from being a low-tier gimmick fighter with no real viability.
It's crazy because my friend Kai plays a lot of Killer Instinct. He never broke down Spinal like this for me, bro. Kai, I doubt that you're watching this, but I'm offended that you did not tell me that Spinal could do all this stuff, bro. That is actually insane. The crazy part, I don't see a lot of Spinals played from when I watched.
Traveling to magical anime land brings
Persona
us to
4.
Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, yet another way for Atlas to vacuum all my money
Junpei?
away. Who needs savings when you
Or
can buy Catherine
Nato?
merch? Anyway, Ultimax's character roster is wonderfully unique, boasting an ocean's worth of complex mechanics that allow its fighters to stand apart from each other. Enter Naoto Shirogane.
Figured.
If you've ever played this game before, you'll absolutely know what I'm going to talk about.
Doom.
Whenever she's in a battle, her opponent will have the number 13 under their persona cards. This is known as their fate counter, and with how 13 is considered by many to be an unlucky number, this is a real bad omen of what's to come. The idea is to get the enemy's fate down to 0 as quickly as possible for a very lethal surprise.
This one I actually know about because I played a little bit of Persona 4 Arena or Ultimax, whichever one you want to consider it. But I played a little bit of this and I watched a whole lot of it, and yeah, this character's kind of crazy, but everybody in this game is insanely crazy. But yeah, she basically has Mudo.
Common attacks, such as a Crashing Light Persona Strike or a Throw, remove only one of these counters, whereas more elaborate specials, like Head Trigger Megiddo for example, will remove at least 3. Various gunshots and her Shield of Justice's DP follow-up will remove multiple counters too. When performed with the B button, Naoto's Gun Super removes 6 fate counters and inflicts the Fear status ailment, whereas the enhanced version inflicts silence on top of this, meaning the enemy can't tech throws, use bursts to escape combos,
Terrifying.
or summon their persona for the next 5 seconds. Yeah, they're kind of screwed. Assuming you've reduced that anxiety-inducing counter to 0, its accompanying skull will turn red. All Naoto has to do now is connect with Hama-on or Mudo-on to immediately win the round. That's right, if the enemy has no remaining fate counters, both of these supers function as instant kills. The latter...
Now what I don't know is how do you prevent that from happening? Like, is there, outside of like just playing a good game and having a good defense and offense, is there any way to stop the insta kill? Like once it reaches 0, is that just guaranteed win condition? That I don't know.
Is a large unblockable anti-air with 76 active frames,
Actually
and the
insane.
former is a pillar of light that's plus 73 on block,
You can block
allowing
it,
for
though.
devastating mix-ups. Should the opponent guess wrong, it's lights out, they're instantly dead. If Naoto uses one of these to win the round, the opponent's fate counter will reset to 13, beginning the cycle anew. What I find hilarious is that both supers literally do no damage when the victim has at least one counter. If you're strictly thinking about damage, they're only useful after you've gone through the trouble of eliminating every one of these numbers. Although I do love this mechanic's fear factor, it wouldn't be accurate to claim that it's Naoto's only win condition. Through careful management of her ammunition, she can choose to zone by using her revolver, traps, and persona to cover common flight paths, or she can decide to stay as close as possible via advantageous buttons. No matter which strategy you choose, remember to decimate the enemy's fate counter whenever you can. If you were around the FGC in the mid-2010s,
Jump kick or dive
there's
kick,
no
sorry.
doubt that you'll remember Dive Kick, the 2-button fighter developed as a spoof on fighting game accessibility. In addition to its original cast of oddballs that kind of look like they escaped from Arkham Asylum, comes a series of guest fighters, the wackiest of which being Nidhogg's Fencer. I have no idea how this thing made its way into Dive Kick, but he brings 2 win conditions to the table. Talk about unique. Firstly, you can utilize forward jumps to approach his sword, automatically equipping it upon contact. At this stage, pressing both buttons will throw it across the screen, resulting in an instant kill should it connect.
Actually insane.
Introducing ranged combat into Dive Kick flips the notion of, I have to jump forward and be up close to win the round, on its head, turning Fencer into a legitimate threat from any range you can imagine. However, if the sword fails to make contact, it'll fly towards the other end of the screen, permanently remaining there until Fencer picks it up again. This marks a high-risk, high-reward strategy that demands nerves of steel, as impulsively throwing the blade can lead to long-term ramifications should it miss. Bottom line, only use the weapon when you're highly confident it'll hit. Finally...
But like, my thing is, I get what he's saying, but does it really matter if you miss the sword? You still have the access of dive kicking, which is just, as this game is foretold, you just land a kick and you win. Obviously, that's easier said than done. But you throwing a sword just puts you on the same playing field as everybody else, yes? Or am I wrong?
Maxing out the universal meter will activate Fencer's kick factor, allowing him to win by moving to the opposite end of the screen.
That's insane!
For such a simple concept, this sudden win condition does a great job of heightening the tug-of-war style tension Dive Kick is built on. Not only does the opponent have to worry about Fencer's attack trajectories, but they now have to include his new objective into their mental stack. He also has a dodge roll that allows him to
What
side
is
switch
this
with your
character,
opponent,
bro?
so you can use
Okay, please tell me that this character has to be the best character in the game. Because if you tell me there's a character better than him, I won't believe you. I just won't believe it. It doesn't make any sense. Like, his win conditions are ridiculously good.
use it to scare the other player
The
into
character's
acting
really good.
recklessly and leaving themselves open for counterattacks. Combining this with a sword leads to Fencer being an approachable yet unorthodox fighter, one with a very multifaceted gameplay style. You can prioritize whiffing kicks to build meter for kick factor, you can gun it in neutral to grab the sword as quickly as possible, or you can ignore both of these to enjoy a more traditional style of play. Either way, Fencer is a stupidly fun character in a stupidly fun game, and I've had a lot of fun
Stupidly
using
broken.
both win conditions when messing around in mirror matches with friends. Like most people who enjoy watching impossibly muscular men fighting to the brink of death,
JoJo's.
I'm a fan of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, with Capcom's Heritage for the Future being a game that I like to dabble in from time to time. As far as win conditions go, look no further than the electric bottom tier herself, Mariah. Similar to Frank West, Mariah
This would probably be the main character I play in JoJo's, to be completely honest. But outside of that, I don't really know much about JoJo's universe or games. I just know very little bits and pieces because of internet and memes, and then a friend I know who is incredibly obsessed with JoJo's. Other than that, I don't know much about JoJo's.
is built around unusual special moves that level her up upon contact. As a passive stand user, she can summon electrical outlets at a variety of angles at the push of a button. Inputting different directions will influence where these spawn, and they remain active for around 3 seconds. If the opponent runs into one of them, Mariah's levels will increase by 1 until she reaches level 8, buffing her specials along the way. She has randomly generated projectiles that track to the enemy's position, a wire trap that locks them in place, and a sparking cable that magically appears from the sky.
What
This
the
final
hell?
attack does very little damage at lower levels, but it's used more to control the enemy's movements and allow for mix-ups when appropriate. In fact, this also applies to her other specials, as Mariah is more focused on space control and winning the war of attrition, rather than rushing in for immediate high damage.
This character seems
When
annoying.
leveled up, her projectiles become faster with more accurate homing properties, the wires undergo a massive range increase, almost traveling full screen, and the Cable of Doom swings way faster, dealing extra hits in the process. The same can be said for her supers, and I don't even want to know how this is
What
possible.
am I looking
You
at?
might get some weird looks by those unfamiliar with the source material, but hey,
Yeah?
this does a decent amount of chip damage when leveled up.
What?
Group projectiles aside, her
This is
infamous knife
game. What is
super is a
JoJo?
close-range reversal that's fantastic at extending or closing out combos. You can even loop this to your heart's content should you have extra meter, resulting in a touch of death. This is all
What?
well and good, but if I'm being honest, it's not enough to stop her from being almost unplayable at high levels if you're not an expert. Even a fully leveled up Mariah isn't strong enough to avoid being sent back to square one when the next round begins, forcing her to
Oh, so
repeat
she
the
doesn't keep the
cycle.
levels.
Additionally, her specials have agonizingly slow startup, her block string pressure is filled with gaps that allow for easy counter hits, her lack of verticality leaves her open to airborne opponents, and if the enemy just sits back and refuses to continue the match on her terms, there's not much Mariah can do about it. These are some of her weaknesses that damn her to the bottom of the tier list, although there are
okay.
dedicated Mariah mains with insane character knowledge, and they make her look broken. Fighting the good fight with such an underpowered character is far from simple, but never impossible, so there's always a chance that Mariah can shake up the odds and shock the enemy into submission. Without a doubt, Kamen Rider Super Climax Heroes is one of the
Never
most
seen this game
broken
either.
fighting games I've ever played. Allowing superheroes to run wild in an arena fighter format probably didn't lend itself well to proper balancing, which is why my choice
Oh, so we just got characters just on some BS, huh? Like just doing whatever. We got an arena fighter with the capabilities of being a Smash 64 MVC.
in wing condition for this section breaks all of the pre-established rules. Forget about the futile concepts of effort, hard work, and neutral for a moment, as we explore someone so busted that he's instantly been banned
Double?
from all tournament play. As a form-based character, Kamen Rider Double can switch between 11 different bodies,
What?
each having a small number of one-of-a-kind attacks. This sounds like he'd be able to hold his own against any opponent, but if I'm being honest, many of them lack strong tools that allow him to adapt. As such, Double's objective is to switch to his strongest form, one that allows him to win virtually every matchup in the game as quickly as possible. Oh man, if you see him transform into Luna Trigger, just give up, the match is over. I should also add that Super Climax Heroes lacks motion inputs, meaning everything I'm about to demonstrate is possible at the push of a single button.
Oh no.
Seriously, anybody can do this with zero effort. As a premier zoner, Double Lunar Trigger has immediate access to what I think are some of the best projectiles I've seen in the genre. Jumping Light, Jumping Heavy, and Standing Heavy are homing projectiles with insane tracking. Not only can Standing Heavy be mashed for extra hits, but you can make it safe via a Roman cancel. Speaking of cancels,
why does this game have Roman cancels?
Standing Light Punch String for an air combo, or just let it rock to send them back into your prime zoning ranges. Pressing the special button in the air leads to 5 homing projectiles, whereas the ground version shoots out 7. The moment Lunar Trigger inputs this move is the moment he wins the matchup, as it can feel nearly impossible for any character to avoid it. Blocking these lasers of death...
I really wish he would have demonstrated like somebody on the other end trying to like move around these, because I want to see how crazy the tracking is, but I can't really get a gauge of how crazy the tracking is from here.
Pushes you far away enough for him to just do the move again, and getting hit by them drains your health and meter.
I see that.
This resource is used for roaming cancels, jump cancels, character-specific tools, and rider finales, the game's lengthy supers. To say that Super Climax Heroes is a game that places
that eats a lot of meter, dude,
usage would be a massive understatement. It would be the understatement of the century. So I think you can see why losing your meter in the blink of an eye from full screen is so devastating. Now that I've mentioned character-specific tools, Lunar Trigger can spend 1 bar of meter to instantly retreat,
that's ridiculous.
Projectile along the way. He's also fully invincible
Wait,
during
does that drain meter too?
firing a homing projectile
okay, it doesn't, thank God.
He's also fully invincible during this animation, so you can't stop him. Making matters worse is that Lunar Trigger has a timed install that buffs Standing Special, leading to it shooting 11 homing projectiles. By now, it's quite obvious that Lunar Trigger was created by the devil to torment those who enjoy licensed fighting games, but at least he has to spend time manually transforming, right? I mean, there shouldn't be anything stopping you from punishing the double player for choosing a bad time to shapeshift. Yeah, about that.
You can pick them from the start?
To start with on the character select screen, and as Super Climax Heroes lacks mirror matches, you can never select him if he's chosen first. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no.
All of this makes for an excruciating zoner, one who absolutely deserves to be banned. And those are some of my favorite win conditions. Perhaps my favorite quality of this topic is how it allows us to understand the many ways fighting game developers can tinker with the basic concept of dealing damage to win. Whether it involves unique resource management, experiencing buffs over the long haul, or utilizing illegal weaponry, the sky is the only limit for creative character designers. There were some popular characters I wanted to include, but decided to remove in favor of those who are more unknown.
Yeah, fair enough.
The likes of Mariah, Spinal, and Double Lunar Trigger are far more obscure than Jacko, Junpei, and Geras, for example.
That's fair, I did call Junpei.
I didn't want to spend the video talking about things that most people are already familiar with. By the way, make sure to let me know about your favorite win conditions in the comments. I'm sure there's some crazy anime fighting game I've never heard of that contains some
Fence is ridiculous,
ways
bro.
to steal victory, so make sure to let me know below. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you and your time, and I hope you had fun. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.
Alrighty, like, if you enjoyed the video, as usual, please leave a like and a comment for not just me, but also this guy as well, because that was a pretty interesting video. Thank you again, boss man, for allowing me to watch and react to this video. But as per usual, I'm gonna take off now. You all have a nice day, and take care.